Governments worldwide are trying to replace cash with CBDC surveillance tokens, and people worldwide are starting to wake up. Last week, the right-leaning Austrian Freedom Party lodged a protest against the current left-wing government for ignoring a referendum on the right to use cash after an overwhelming 530,000 Austrians signed a referendum petition. With CBDCs now being pushed worldwide in the face of widespread public opposition, I think we'll see more clashes over protecting the people's right to save and to spend anonymously with cash, something we've had for a long time, for millennia, and have taken for granted, but is now under threat of being seized into a CBDC, a giant balance sheet the government can surveil and manipulate at will, turning your money into an allowance. In fact, a recent poll found that Americans overwhelmingly reject a CBDC, and opposition rises as they learn more about it. For example, opposition doubles when people learn a CBDC can be used to freeze the bank account of political protesters. It rises to even more when they learn a CBDC allows government to monitor your spending, and it rises to 74% when they learn a CBDC lets government control your spending. Cholera polls better. So why do governments keep pushing CBDCs when voters hate them? Simple. CBDCs are irresistible to governments who would dearly love to monitor and control every dollar you spend. Think of the opportunities for social engineering, reparations, or a China-style social credit system. Meanwhile, punishing political opponents with a CBDC means controlling speech, which means permanent job security for politicians who serve the deep state first with the people as an afterthought. So how can we fight CBDCs? The easiest is to make sure your government doesn't start one. Central banks worldwide, 8 at last count, starting with China, are running CBDC pilot projects, allegedly for research, that build fully functional CBDCs without authorization. These should be stopped for the same reason government shouldn't be piloting, say, tools to mass censor political speech. The people control the government, not the other way around, and we tell them what they're allowed to pilot via our elected representatives. By the way, central banks can run these pilots without authorization because they're self-funding. They print their own budgets with their magical basement money printers, meaning in many countries, central banks do what they like, free of the power of the purse that controls most of government. In fact, many central banks, including the Fed, are largely exempt from freedom of information requirements where governments have to tell the people what they're up to. As Murray Rothbard put it, the Fed has less congressional oversight, meaning less voter oversight, than the CIA. This means central banks will do what they like until Congress very specifically tells them to stop. I mean, spelled out like central bankers are 5-year-olds, including a blanket CBDC ban and a ban on pilots, even when they try to sneak one in by running it through banks or contractors. CBDC pushers are building them using central bank machinery that's currently immune from voters. It is up to us to make our representatives stop them before we are locked in a digital cage that none of us voted for. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.